Facebook has taken its broadest action yet to fight hate crime on its site after yesterday it classified a large number of Boogaloo movement accounts as dangerous and banned them. Facebook announced in a blog post that it has removed more than 300 Boogaloo, Facebook and Instagram accounts, 106 Boogaloo groups, as well as 400 additional groups and 100 pages that host content supporting the movement. Facebook said they made the decision because the group, quote, actively promotes violence against civilians, law enforcement, and government officials and institutions.
Well, didn't they already know? Did they just figure that out yesterday?
Yeah, we are stepping up our efforts against this network. And no, there is still more to do. You know what? If I could just say, they keep saying that.
Yeah.
We know we have more to do.
It's half
we
steps.
know we're going to get better. They've been saying for 5 years that they know they have more work to do. The blog post continues. We know that our efforts will never completely eliminate the risk from this network or other dangerous organizations, but we will continue to remove content and accounts that break our rules so we can keep people safe.
So why do they know that they can never stop violent people who are racists, who want to kill black people and kill Jews and kill minorities? Why is it that you can never stop that from being on your social network? I don't understand, because, hell, the Washington Post, the New York Times, they don't let people that write racist things that and call for the killing of police officers.
Why are you different?
Yeah, why are you? We don't understand.
What makes you so special?
Oh, it's because you don't make enough money to police it. Oh, wait a second.
You make so much money.
You're worth $86 billion, Mark. And you're saying that you know that there will always be hate groups and racist groups and bigoted groups and dangerous groups and foreigner people that are trying to interfere in our elections, and you can't do anything but here's a half measure? I don't get it. And I got to say to Congress, I don't understand why Congress continues to allow people like Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg and Jack Dorsey to make billions and billions of dollars personally while keeping hate groups on their sites,
allowing them
to fester and spread. They allow that man right there is responsible more than anybody else in America for the spread of hate speech and racism and misinformation about a pandemic that's killed 130,000 Americans, and for disinformation that is trying to rig the election, to actually undermine the American democracy. And he's doing a half measure saying, oh, we can't do anything about it.
Let's bring in NBC News reporter Ben Collins, who has been following this story closely. Ben, Facebook keeps releasing these statements saying, we know we need to get better. So when?
I don't know when they're going to take the full step to really do what's necessary here. Again, we knew about this for a month. We talked about this, 2 weeks ago? There was a terror attack that was planned on a federal agent on Facebook in a Boogaloo Facebook group. That happened over a month ago. That happened a long time ago. That group got removed yesterday. But it does seem like Facebook is sort of fighting the last war at all times, and they're not dealing with the systemic issues on the platform, which is, I don't know if you've seen these ads for Facebook groups. They're everywhere. If you watch that Michael Jordan documentary on ESPN, you saw it was primarily sponsored by that. Facebook groups are an enormous problem for public health, both for the coronavirus and for racism and things like that. Basically, it drives people into these smaller groups, and then there's this one-upsmanship that goes on in these extremist groups where people might start joking about the civil war that they want to start. But at the end of the day, they're taking it very seriously because the rhetoric always gets amplified and one-upped. And Facebook is never really enforcing anything that would make it so they would know even if a terror attack was coming.
Hey, Ben, it's Willie. Facebook says they have an algorithm that stamps out most of this hate speech. I think they say 90% of it before it even gets distributed widely. They say they do it better than Twitter and other places. But they haven't done much until this ad boycott came out a couple of weeks ago, and they're losing advertisers who are big companies who are putting their advertising on pause. Of course, advertising is the whole ballgame for Facebook. It's 98% of their revenue. So how much of this early change now, this this is just the beginning of something, perhaps, is coming from the pressure from advertisers?
I would say all of it. I've been covering this stuff for, half decade now or something, covering Facebook specifically and how they deal with this stuff. And nothing has been a sea change like this has been. And it's because money talks, right? This is billions of dollars. And they're really big money advertisers like Unilever and Starbucks and things like that. They're saying, like, look, we have to get a grip on this stuff. And that's the thing. Like, this is the issue with the Boogaloo stuff. It's a really good example of what's happening here. You can stomp out specific racial slurs. You can stomp out, specific hate speech. But once you start to, extremists have identified the way to get around that. And it's to talk about cutesy things like calling it the Boogaloo. It sounds like a joke. That makes it allowed on these platforms. It sounds like you're talking about movies or something. So you need real enforcement. You need real, actual, police-style enforcement of this stuff if you want to stomp it out. And, I asked them yesterday, I was like, if this group was called something like ISIS or something instead of the Boogaloo, would you really have waited a month after a terror attack to take these groups down? And the answer was not really, they didn't really give a full-throated answer here because they don't really have one. They are right now finally starting to see the mounting pressure that will affect their business if they don't make a change. And I think, if the pressure keeps mounting, I think they eventually will make a change.
Ben, thank you very much. Willie mentioned the ad boycott, growing pressure for the social media giant to take down hate speech on its platform, with over 300 advertisers due to boycott Facebook as part of the Stop Hate for Profit campaign. And there are now plans for the boycott to go global. Joining us now, CEO and National Director of the Anti-Defamation League and leading partner in the Facebook boycott campaign, Jonathan Greenblatt. Very good to have you on the show. We're looking at a lot of major companies, taking part in this boycott, but some of them are just a month. Isn't it going to take a lot more ad dollars not coming their way for Facebook to make changes? Because they've been promising to get better, for a long time, and they haven't really come through. They never do it in a full-throated way.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mika, and I would credit you and Joe for a long time for trying to bring attention to this issue. For 15 years, Facebook has built the largest advertising platform in the history of business. And simply put, they have failed to keep their consumers safe. The idea, as was mentioned just a moment ago, that these Boogaloo groups just now are coming off the platform is nuts, and no other business would tolerate this. So when we started this campaign 2 weeks ago, keep in mind, 2 weeks ago, ADL, NAACP, Color of Change, Common Sense Media, we didn't have a single business with us, not one. 2 weeks to the day, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of small to medium-sized businesses, some of the most iconic American brands, Levi's, Coca-Cola, Starbucks, Hershey's, Kind Snacks, and a number of others, and global businesses, as you just said, they're coming on. Diageo, Acura, VW, Lego, SAP, Unilever. And I'll tell you, Mika, literally, we cannot keep up with the incoming. Our phones have, like my phone has rung off the hook for the last week. CEOs, heads of advertising agencies, public relation firms, they are all frustrated. Their ads for too long have subsidized this hate. I mean, that's what you have to keep in mind. Boogaloo groups, Holocaust denialism, racist content, white supremacist content. It's the ads from like Verizon and Salesforce and Panera that have been subsidizing this content. It's absolutely outrageous, and everyone agrees it's got to change.
Hey, Jonathan, it's Willie Geist, and you've got Facebook now listening in a way that they haven't been listening before because of this ad boycott. So now that you have Facebook's attention, what exactly do you want them to do as a practical matter, and what kind of response have you received specifically from Facebook?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, the goal here was never, we didn't imagine we would put a dent in their P&L as it's a $70 billion machine. We thought we would make a point about their practices. Because indeed, the things we're talking about here aren't intended to bankrupt the company or upend the business model. They're simply improvements to the product and tweaks to their practices. So what do I mean? Take off the white supremacist, Holocaust denialism, and conspiracy theory content. There is no place for that on any mainstream media platform. They should be accountable to their advertisers. And if ads show up alongside this kind of content, they should refund the companies, point blank. They should provide services. You know, the ADL, we study hate, we monitor it, that's what we do. In our annual report of online harassment, some 28% of users report being severely harassed, but Facebook is the place where it happens more often than any other platform. If you get harassed on Facebook, the company should provide you some degree of service and support. That's just how every other business does it. And I think just two other quick points. They should simply remove the political exemption. There is no context whatsoever where it's reasonable for politicians to call for violence or for voter disinformation to be allowed, not just on election day, every day of the year. And finally, independent, third-party, regular, predictable audits whose results are published. Again, what we're talking about here is not all that hard. And in the last 48 hours, YouTube has taken steps, Reddit. It's long overdue for Facebook to do the same.
Well, and you were so right, Jonathan. Sure. Again, if you want to, just an example of how irresponsible Facebook has been and how irresponsible they continue to be, look at the fact that a federal official, law enforcement officer, was assassinated by a Boogaloo boy. And it's taken them a couple of weeks to actually clean up those sites. Yeah. You have, I remember getting texts from friends talking about this Plandemic movie that was clearly a conspiracy theory that was causing real health concerns for doctors who also talked to me about it, saying they are creating a conspiracy theory that are making people believe that this pandemic is nothing more than a George Soros-backed conspiracy plot. And they kept it up for months. It got more views than Taylor Swift videos, than Office reunions. But they kept it up. And even now, the President of the United States is generating lies to try to undermine our election. We know that foreign countries use Facebook first to interfere with American democracy. And they do nothing about it. So if you're Coca-Cola, like, why do you want to ever fund, which of course they're not, anti-Semitism, racism against blacks, as you said, Holocaust deniers, giving them a platform, the Boogaloo boys, giving them a platform up until now. And again, most importantly, going into this election, giving a platform to people who are trying to undermine the credibility of American democracy in this election. How could anybody go back to funding that until they clean up?
Yeah, I mean, there is simply put no business case for bigotry. There are, you know what's hard? What's hard is reaching 2.6 billion consumers, generating $18.5 billion in profits. You know what's easy? Removing white nationalists. You know what's easy? Taking down people who want to commit violence against African Americans. That, I'm sorry, isn't hard. But, Joe, there is a silver lining and a piece of good news. On Friday, as our campaign gained steam, Facebook's stock plummeted 8.25%, and it shaved off $56 billion in market valuation. Stop Hate for Profit is doing something that's never happened before. We are finally bringing Facebook to the table, and we will press and we will push and we will not stop till they agree to stuff that I think all of us agree is simply common sense.
All right. Thank you so much. CEO and National Director of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt. Great to have you on. I love watching you on Reverend Al's show, also talking about anti-Semitism. It's we greatly appreciate you getting that message out with anti-Semitism, as we know, continuing to spread everywhere from Brooklyn to Europe, as it has, unfortunately, for too long. Thank you for being with us.
All right.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.